At the family dinner table, the room felt warm, but I felt cold. My parents laughed, the plates were full, and yet my chest felt painfully empty. I had barely taken my first bite when my mother looked at me with a strange finality and said, "Nobody needs your money, or you." My father didn't look up. He didn't defend me. He didn't blink. And before I could even breathe, my sister leaned back in her chair, folded her arms, and quietly agreed. There was no shouting, no tears, no scene, just a deep silence that wrapped around me like a slow, suffocating mist. I didn't argue. I didn't ask why. I simply lowered my gaze and did things they never expected. Where are you watching this video from? Let me know in the comments. My name is Emily Carter, and I am 28 years old. The night my family pushed me away, something inside me didn't break. It froze. I grew up believing that love meant sacrifice, and I sacrificed everything for them. My time, my earnings, my comfort, even my dreams. But at that dinner table, when they dismissed me as if I were a burden, I understood that I had spent years pouring myself into people who had never once poured back into me. After dinner, I went to my old room, the one my sister now used, and quietly gathered the few leftover belongings I still had there. A sweater, a childhood photo, a notebook full of dreams I had abandoned. I heard them in the living room laughing, relieved that I wasn't their problem anymore. My sister said she felt lighter now that I was finally leaving. I didn't say a word, not because I was weak, but because I finally saw the truth. Silence was the only language they ever understood. So I left the house with my small bag, my frozen heart, and a quiet revenge forming like an invisible flame inside me. I moved into a tiny apartment the next day, a space no bigger than my childhood closet, but it felt like mine. For the first time in years, I could hear my own thoughts without my family's constant criticism drowning them. I began to rebuild myself in silence. Mornings were spent learning new skills, nights working double shifts, weekends planning something bigger than all of them combined. I didn't post about it. I didn't update anyone. My family always believed I would come crawling back, unable to survive without them. They laughed at the thought of me trying anything alone. But my silence became my shield and my weapon. Over the months, I created an online business, slow at first, but steady. Then steady turned into rising. Rising turned into success, and success turned into something they never imagined, independence. They didn't know I was working with international clients. They didn't know I had started earning more in a month than they made in a year. They didn't know that my quiet, empty apartment had turned into the birthplace of my future. The best revenge wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was simply becoming everything they swore I could never be. 16 months later, life placed us back in the same room, another family gathering, another dinner table. But this time, I was different. My clothes were the same modest ones, my expression still calm, my presence still quiet, but inside, I was unshakable. I entered the house like a gentle shadow, unnoticed at first, until my sister caught sight of me and forced a stiff smile. They asked the usual questions, not because they cared, but because they wanted to confirm their expectations. Are you still struggling? Did your job fail yet? Need help, again? I quietly said, no, just one word, nothing more. What they didn't know was that while they spent their days mocking me, I had bought something that would change everything, the very house they were living in. It had gone into foreclosure after my father mismanaged finances, and I bought it quietly, legally, without any announcement. I didn't come to show off. I didn't come to shame them. I came to witness the moment truth replaced their illusions. And that moment was approaching like slow thunder. The truth came not from my lips but from an envelope. A formal notice slipped under the front door during dinner. My father opened it, expecting another bill. His hands trembled before he even finished the first page. His eyes widened as he whispered, "The new owner wants to meet us." I stayed still, silent, watching. My mother panicked. My sister demanded to know who dared take their home. And then the lawyer's card fell from the envelope. My name printed on it. The room froze, their voices died. For the first time in my life, they were silent. My mother's lips quivered. "You bought the house?" I nodded, not coldly, not arrogantly, just truthfully. My sister stepped back as if she had seen a ghost. My father collapsed into his chair, ashamed, humiliated not by my success, but by the lies they had told I didn't evict them that night. I simply told them they had 60 days to find a new place. Not out of cruelty, but closure. They had taught me I didn't belong there. Now I simply confirmed it, but inside, I felt no victory over them. The victory was over the version of myself who once begged for love that didn't exist. Over the next weeks, I watched my family grow quiet. Their arrogance faded. Their certainty shattered. They finally realized that the girl they once dismissed had risen in ways they never imagined. And though I didn't forgive them, I released them emotionally, the final step in my silent revenge. When the house was finally mine alone, I walked through its quiet halls, feeling a peace I had never felt before. I wasn't the same Emily who left in tears. I was the Emily who returned in strength. And in that silence, I whispered only one thing. I choose myself now. This was my silent victory. My transformation. My closure. This was Revenge Book. Where are you watching this video from? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more cinematic silent revenge stories, themselves about me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult them. I didn't remind them of the night they told me I was useless. Revenge didn't need noise. My silence did everything.